welcome to the family here on Purple Mafia. I'm your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Purple Mafia is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It's a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. It's Easter Sunday, so going to do this all in one shot here this year. Was kind of hoping to get this done last weekend, but I figured, it kind of was what it was. I had some other projects to work on. So, hope some of you might be listening to Mysterious Adventures. I hope you've been enjoying that, for sure. Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to those who celebrate, which would, I would be included in that category. So, again, hope you have had a nice Easter. It's draft week. It's finally draft week. And, yes, on Thursday night, of course, will be round one. The continuing rounds will be on 2 and 3 will be on Friday, and of course the rest of the way 4 through 7 will be on Saturday, as per tradition, pretty much with the NFL these days. Back in the day, I used to have everything on Saturday, 1 through 7. I can't imagine the commentators throughout the day, how it start fairly, kind of early in the morning. Was it like 11 a.m. or 10 a.m. in the morning here in the Central Time, and go on until like 6 o'clock in the evening. That was pretty long. Pretty rough, like rounds 1 through 7. So they split everything up. They got to have that prime time on a Thursday, prime time again on a Friday to watch second and third round, because those are pretty important picks. And then 4 through 7 on Saturday, kind of keeping up through things casually, seeing how teams add depth to their rosters, and hopefully, you never know, might add a sleeper that could change your franchise, like a Stephon Diggs type. In the hockey world, a guy by the name of, Kirill Kaprizov was a fifth-round pick. This Tom Brady guy was taken in, the 6th round? Tom Brady, ever heard of him? I've never heard of him, but maybe you have. Okay, yeah, I've heard of him. Duh. Matt Burke was taken in the 6th round, so that's always kind of fun. Unfortunately, I'm not here to point out any sleepers, even though it'd be fun to do that. Disclaimer for this episode, this draft it's not like last year, unfortunately, at least not for the Minnesota Vikings. Probably not in general. I mean, every draft has its own identity. Every draft kind of evolves year by year. Like last year was one of those epic, exciting quarterback drafts. Whereas, like back in the day too, 2011, there was a bunch of quarterbacks. Unfortunately, a lot of them turned out to be, you'll forgive the term, junk. They turned out to be disappointing. The Christian Ponders, the Andrew Locks, and such. Massive disappointments. What was Blaine Gabbert was, I think, on that list. I think so, yeah. Massive disappointment. Guys you had high hopes in, you thought there's going to do something, but it ended up being just a big disappointment. Then you had the suck for luck year the next year, and, the Vikings sucked that year, really bad, 3-13. To, again, forgive the terminology, the Vikings sucked in 2011. And, we didn't suck enough for luck, in case we wanted to give up on Ponder, which would have been totally fine, it turns out, in hindsight's 2020. But Andrew Luck was the only quarterback that turned out to be good. And unfortunately, he didn't play like a full career like some people. He did get banged up. He probably would have been okay to play again, but he just didn't want to keep getting banged up for the old Abraham Lincoln look-alike. I know. He kind of had a look of Abe Lincoln, I suppose. Forgive my voice if it's a little bit strange. I'm not completely sure. From my vantage point, you're the one more likely to say that your voice doesn't sound the same. So, yeah. When you're around yourself all the time, you don't know sometimes. So, yes, I'm recovering. I'm feeling better than I was a few days ago. Got kind of some, kind of a weird cold type of situation kind of popped up around Wednesday-ish. So, I've had a few days to get better and better and better gradually. Speaking, I'm not coughing my head off or anything, which is great. Like back in January, that was pretty rough. So, enough about me. But, yes, the NFL Draft Preview, that's what this is all about. Of course, we'll have a draft review probably not too long after Thursday. Maybe as soon as next weekend, but maybe as late as the weekend after. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's that kind of random, strange time of year when episodes are kind of like rainy days and Sundays, that kind of thing. Well, it's a rainy day and a Sunday here on Easter. Earlier in the day, it was not too bad. It was kind of casual, but then the rain started picking up, and rain stinks. So it's great podcasting weather, but it kind of sucks for everything else unless you just like being out in the rain for some reason. Or, filming scenes in movies or something. But, I don't know. We won't even get into AI or anything like that. AI, yuck. Let's get off of AI for a minute. I'm tired of fake stuff everywhere you turn. Let's just get to the draft, okay? Sooner or later. But again, like I was saying last year, it was all about the quarterback situation, especially for the Minnesota Vikings. And J.J. McCarthy still appears to be that guy, which is good. The Vikings still to this day have not signed a number 2. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers has also not landed with another franchise. He's not landed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which a lot of people thought. The Giants were eliminated when a few different quarterbacks went there. Russell Wilson, and, of course, unfortunately, the one that kind of had us a little bit disappointed was Jameis Winston also signing with the Giants. He actually signed first, and then, of course, ultimately the other one that a lot of us probably didn't want here too bad, Russell Wilson signing with the New York Giants. So that's the New York Giants for now. That's where they're going for the time being. Nice backup with a lot of, well, he's kind of fun to watch, but he can get you killed as well. Jameis Winston, tons of talent, but lots of mistakes. Kind of like a super duper version of Nick Mullins, who's also gone, unfortunately. He has left for the Jags. Josh Allen agreed to terms on a new 6-year deal worth $330 million with $250 guaranteed, according to Ian Rappaport. He's kind of the main reporter for the National Football League. He's the Woj bomb for the NFL, or Shams nowadays, because Woj is running a college, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Joey Bosa, 1 year, 12.6. One of the few 49ers that didn't leave. Gosh, they lost like 15 players. Heck, the Eagles did as well. I guess that's kind of a thing in pro sports. You win a Super Bowl and half the team leaves. Or in baseball, like World Series, you have the, what am I talking about? Joey Bosa went to the Bills. See? Yeah, so he's another 49er that left. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I'm a complete moron. Anyhow, Zach Wilson signed a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. That was one of the backup conversations. So a lot of people leaving. A lot of people out for being the number 2 for the Minnesota Vikings. So, of course, before we get into the actual draft, we kind of look at the free agent kind of update type of thing. It's like a miniature part 2 free agency. In a lot of ways, guys, we're not going to get. Alexander Madison also leaving the Raiders for a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. Zach Wilson, again, was one of the guys taken off the board to be a possible backup for J.J. McCarthy. Probably not the best choice. You'd probably like somebody who's a little bit older. And I think the guy that I was picking is probably going to be the guy. Now, Joshua Dobbs and Stephon Diggs also signing with the New England Patriots. 2 years, $8 million for Joshua Dobbs. It's like he's talented, but, man, he can't even hang on to the ball. I mean, I don't know why he keeps getting signed. I don't know. God bless him, though. I mean, good for you, Josh. Stephon Diggs, 3 years, $69 million going to the Patriots. Garrett Bradbury also going to the Patriots. Interesting. So just a free agent contract. That's the only information they're showing. I remember, wasn't it like $6 million? Marcus Epps, a former Viking draft pick that we just traded away basically or dumped, wound up with the Eagles and was okay, safety. 1-year deal, 4.4 with the Patriotas. Justin Fields also going to the Jets. I think we already talked about that. My apologies. Cooper Rush was another one. One going to the Ravens, excuse me. Jamar Chase signing ridiculous money, for lack of a better term. 4 years, $161. Unbelievable. T. Higgins, 4 years, $115 million. So signing all those wide receivers and, of course, the quarterback a year ago. And who else do you sign? I don't know. The one that kind of had us all a little bit sad, but he is 40 years old. Not Kenny Pickett. He was acquired from the Eagles in a trade going to the Browns. Not sure what they're going to do in Cleveland right now. Joe Flacco, 1 year, $4 million to the Cleveland Brownies. The Brownies, yes. Mason Rudolph going back to Pittsburgh. 2 years, $8 million, 4.5 guaranteed. Congratulations, Mason Rudolph, I suppose. Okay, sorry. But, oh, yeah, Ed Ingram signed. Yep, yeah, that was the trade. Yep, trade with the Texans. That's obviously on the last episode. Sorry it was so damn long ago. Yes, Daniel Jones, we talked about this in the last episode. 1 year, $14 million. That's a lot of money. So, Daniel Jones, kind of tough to turn down a 1 year, $14 million. 13.15 fully guaranteed. That's a lot. It's a lot. That's pretty good. So, good luck to him. Nick Mullins, I'm pretty sure we talked about this in the last episode, as there was one quarterback remaining on the roster, J.J. McCarthy. Nick Mullins, out 6.5 for 2 years. Congratulations, Nicky. Brandon Allen was a name that was kind of brought up, but not really. Signs of the Titans. And Tim Boyle, I don't think we talked about those guys as possible being backups. That's more like third stringers. Sam Ellinger, Jarrett Stidham. Yeah, I don't know. Going with the Broncos. Gardner Minshew. Yep, we talked about that. 1-year contract with the Chefs. Bailey Zapp also zapped his way to the Chefs. I guess he's the third stringer there. Geno Smith, that's old news. Yes, it is. Taylor Heineke, good for him. Trey Lance, that was another thing, too. This was new. Chargers, Trey Lance going to the Chargers. Interesting, with Taylor Heineke. So, to back up the Justin Herbert. Joe Milton, okay, whoever that is. Cowboys, congratulations to Mr. Joe. Tommy DeVito, he's on the Giants, he's got a 1-year deal with the Giants. He told them, I got this contract here. I put a gun to his head, and you know what happened after that? There's one thing going on this contract. One out of two things: your signature or your brains. Well, they signed it. So Tommy DeVito will be the third stringer for the Giants. Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston joining Tommy DeVito. And it's on, baby, for the Giants. Perfect place for Tommy DeVito. In New York, are you kidding me? Perfect. Anyhow, Philadelphia Eagles signing the epic Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR. Don't trade Robinson. I don't know, don't trade for Robinson is more like it. Yeah, and they did trade for him. The Eagles traded for him with the Browns. Anyhow, 5th round, 25th pick, or 5th round pick, 164, in exchange for Kenny Pickett. I'd rather have Kenny Pickett. I would rather have Kenny Pickett than Dorian Thompson-Robinson, wouldn't you? Kenny Pickett's nothing special, but I don't know. I think he's a better backup. Saquon, 2 years, 41.2. After the year he had, like back in the day, you'd think he'd got like $200 million, but running backs are different. They just are, unfortunately. It's a harsh reality for the running backs in the world of football. Marcus Mariota, going back to, I believe he was already with the Commanders at one point, but returning there, 1-year Diddy, $8 million. That's a name that was taken off the list a long time ago, unfortunately for us. Jets acquiring Case Keenum, signing Case Keenum. Isn't he 37? Or did I say the Jets? The Bears get Case Keenum. If I said the Jets, forgive me. Joe Thuney, also going from the Chiefs to the Jets. Joe Thuney, wow, it's a big one. 4th round pick too, 2026. But again, look at the Vikings did. Pretty savvy stuff, to be quite honest. Look at our offensive line; it's freaking awesome, and there's still a chance the Vikings will add a pretty high-end offensive lineman in the NFL draft. We'll be talking about that in a minute. Kyle Allen with the Lions. Yay. Good for him, I guess. It's a quarterback, if you've ever heard of those. No, I'm just kidding. Have you ever heard of the guy anyway? Yeah, I know. We've heard of him, but he's not much of to brag about. Aaron Jones, of course, re-signed. We're talking about that. Jordan Mason in that cool trade with the 49ers. Very exciting to have Jordan Mason, because I don't want to put all the eggs in the basket of Aaron Jones. I don't want to put all my eggs in Aaron Jones' basket. He's not good enough anymore, man. He gets hurt too much, and he fumbles a lot. You notice I wasn't like on the mic here all year last year praising and going crazy about Aaron Jones, because I didn't really like what I saw half of the time. Sometimes it's like, oh yeah, there you go. And then other times it's like 2 yards in a cloud of dust, or, are you kidding me? He fumbled again. You son of a, that type of thing. Or he's hurt, damn it. He's going off the field for this or that. Jordan Mason with the 49ers, I praised him all off and on. Even though as the year progressed, his numbers weren't all so great, and then he became, the number 2 guy. Where I think in Minnesota, he could be kind of a 1A. We'll see. Vikings also acquired Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore is new from the last episode. Wide receiver. I don't think he's going to have us forgetting about Jarius Wright. That's my guy there, number 17. There was some kind of a thing out there, like what former Viking did you really have a soft spot for? And it's like immediately Jarius Wright. And the other one is the more recent one that we just lost to the Patriots last year. The new number 17, KJ Clutch, same on me, going to the KJ Osborne going to the Patriots. I like him, damn it. I like KJ Osborne. It's just I have affinity for number 17s with the Vikings the last several years. Jarius Wright and KJ Osborne. Osborne was here for a few years. Jarius Wright was here for a long time, I think dating back to the 2012 draft, which is the same draft as Harrison Smith. I just love Jarius Wright, so when he left, I was kind of sad. He was getting older at that point, but I was sad. Love that guy. Eric Wilson coming back to the Vikings. He was a Zimmer guy at one point, linebacker, so nice to have him back. Jeff Okudah, kind of a depth cornerback. So, we'll see how that turns out. He's a depth guy. Isaiah Rodgers, we already talked about him. Tavier Thomas, special teams kind of guy who can play cornerback, so on and so forth. So those are like Vikings additions, just kind of messing around. Andy Dalton going back to Carolina. That's, New Orleans Saints, I'm not sure what they're going to do because apparently Derek Carr might be out for the year. So that's cute. I mean, they waited that long. Whew, I don't know. We'll see. Kyle Trask. That's a pretty small contract, 2.78. Well, I don't know what to tell them. And obviously the Bucs, though, they have their main guy. Jacoby Brissett, I was a little sad about that, going to the Cardinals. I would have loved him here. Because if you want a veteran guy to kind of work with C.J. McCarthy, Brissett would have been pretty high on my list. I've always liked him. And a guy who could win a game or two for you if needed. 2 years, 12.5. I'm kind of rehashing because I'm sure I talked about him already on the last episode. Garoppolo going to the Los Angeles Rams, 1 year, 4.505 guaranteed. You had to throw in that 05 part. Max value of 13.505. Jimmy Garoppolo with the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford restructured. So he's not leaving Los Angeles. Devontae Adams, of course, also signed a 2-year contract. $42 million for only two years. Devontae Adams, remember him with the Packers and the Raiders? Who could forget the Raiders just don't do anything. It's like when Randy Moss is on the Raiders. It's like, kind of garbage. Mac Jones with the Niners, 2 years, $7 million. Not crashing on Moss, it's just nobody's throwing him the damn ball. It was horrible. It was horrible. Sam Darnold, yes, we know that. $100 million to the Seahawks. Congratulations, Sammy Delight Darnold, who didn't delight us at all in week 18 or in Wild Card Weekend, Super Wild Card Weekend. Didn't delight us one bit. I'm 17 minutes into the episode, but you knew there was going to be some kind of a free agent review type of thing and kind of catching up a little bit. You just knew it, right? Catching up with some other stuff that had taken place since. So, yes, I still am sticking with the Tannehill bit because the Vikings, again, are avoiding having to lose comp picks because we only have 4 picks right now in this draft. So, if we can get a comp pick or two by with some of our free agent losses, that'll be great. So maybe the Vikings can get to 5 or 6 picks in this draft instead of just 4 by waiting. So, and of course, like waiting into the next draft is kind of like the whole idea. But then we can also sign these players right after. Apparently, the name that's been floating around. This is one of those hot rumors that's been floating around for a while. Supposedly, somebody saw Asante Samuel at the nightclub wearing Vikings hat, and they didn't know who he was, and they said, "Who are you? You look like a pro athlete." And they just said his name was Asante, and he said something about, "I'm going to sign with the Vikings after the draft." So we'll see. I know that's one of those weird rumors that's out there, but it's been floating around Score North, like Phil Mackey and Judd Zolgad, Declan Goff, guys like that. So it's not like it's just Joey throwing tacks on a wall and hoping it sticks. No, it's out there a little bit. I know in a lot of ways they're kind of messing around. It's reckless speculation, but it's out there. Again, Tannehill still out there, still a free agent. Flacco eventually just kind of said, screw it. And apparently it sounds like it was more Flacco's group that wanted to come here than the Vikings wanting to sign Flacco. So that's kind of interesting. He is 40 years old, and when he played against the Vikings this past season as a member of the Colts, it was a totally different vibe than when he was with Cleveland 2 years ago. I mean, he looked good. He looked damn good. Like absolutely a renaissance season with Cleveland completely out of nowhere. Now he's back there again, so we'll see what happens with Flacco with the Cleveland Browns. Otherwise, I'm still sticking with Tannehill, I think, with that. That's who the Vikings are going to ultimately sign. Otherwise, there's all kinds of trade possibilities that are still floating out there. Nobody's talking about Carson Wentz, though he's been seen at the MSP a few times, Minneapolis St. Paul Airport, whatever. But he lives kind of close to here, so it's like whatever. That's kind of why, and he has family in town, so that kind of thing. He's what is he from, North Dakota? So that's what people are thinking. That's probably all it really is. So otherwise, there's no steam on Carson Wentz being the Vikings' number 2, and unfortunately, he's nothing close to what he was with the Eagles back in 2017 before the knee injury. It's a damn shame because, man, once upon a time, he was really looked on as a good quarterback, but that was many years ago. Aaron Rodgers still kind of floating around, seeing if maybe McCarthy stumbles or isn't healthy or something. Maybe that's what Aaron Rodgers is kind of like waiting out on, possibly, rather than signing with the Steelers. There's also conversation that things got pretty toxic in Pittsburgh as the team dropped off kind of as the season progressed. They had a nice run for a while. They're getting into the postseason, but I guess late in the year, things started to get kind of toxic there. That's kind of what the talk has been, unfortunately, with the Steelers. And that might be why Rodgers ultimately is like, eh. And, of course, the Giants moved on. They decided, no, we're going to go with the same guy, Russell Wilson, who might have been toxic in Pittsburgh, and Jameis Winston, who's been, not much a whole lot of toxic out of him. He's just a little bit wild out there. Talented, but backup because he's too crazy, like a Nick Mullins. a super Nick Mullins. Yeah, Russell Wilson signing with Big Blue. They're not real big right now. They're not that big. They're not that good. They kind of suck. Anyhow, so we get to the draft. Okay, so some mock drafts. Of course, Walter Football. With the 24th pick, the Vikings take Malachi Starks. It's a guy I like. Sure, he's on my list here. So let's dig into the list a little bit. So one of the guys, I'm kind of going to, again, like I said, this is not like last year where we're going to have some fun with the quarterbacks and other like elite possibilities, like getting this Turner guy last year that we wound up getting by trading back up there again. I don't see the Vikings trading up this year. Some people are kind of hoping that the Vikings do something like that and try to get the top-ranked running back out of college. That could be extremely exciting, but it would take about the 10th pick or so. Like, that's what the conversation is, that people would want. Yeah, if the Vikings want to trade up and maybe be for that top-end running back. But we did trade for Mason Jordan already, and I think he's pretty good. So I think the Vikings are okay at the running back position in terms of going for high-end talent, but I'm definitely not against the Minnesota Vikings taking a running back in the draft. Just I don't think you need to be super aggressive, like to try to get a franchise, running back necessarily on the spot, or hoping that this person is a franchise running back. You know what I mean? So that'd be Ashton Genty, who probably will be running back out of Boise State. So right now he's mocked to the Bears, according to Walter Football. I like to go to this one for fun. So that conversation is out there. If the Vikings were to get aggressive to trade up, possibly. It's just kind of wild speculation, though. Otherwise, Azaire Thomas, cornerback, Florida State. I would say, yep, he's a stay-at-home defender who gives little room for comfort for receivers. Nice open field tackler in short yardage situation. Only 2 interceptions in 3 years of college. So, yes, the stay-at-home, if that's kind of what you're looking for in this draft, because, again, you're not probably going to get this exciting superstar player. But then again, you never know. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson years ago with the 20th pick. So that was pretty awesome. And I remember endorsing him, and that was the year when the wide receiver position was insanely rich in the NFL. So that was extremely fun and exciting. So that's kind of like a safe pick. Nothing exciting. He doesn't go for the turnovers necessarily. He's not like projected to be some star, but he's a stay-at-home kind of guy. Like, imagine a nice stay-at-home defenseman if you in the NHL. It's nice to have some of those, isn't it, sometimes? Yeah. It'd be nice to actually make sure you have somebody that stays home, maybe bats the ball away or just denies the ball to the receiver, which is kind of like the number one goal of a cornerback. But if you want somebody who's a little more on the exciting side, you got Jaden Barron, cornerback of Texas, a little more on the lanky side. Yep, could be kind of exciting. Projects to be a slot corner in the NFL, so it's like he's lanky, but he still plays like a slot type of position. Definitely more of a ball hawk with 5 interceptions just last year. So kind of similar to our guy that we just re-signed for a lot of money. Seems to have a higher ceiling than Thomas. Yep. But it's like, yep, he's very fast, athletic, can be explosive at times. If he's too aggressive, he could be burned on occasion as well. Could win a game for you, though, on the right day. Some projections have Barron going a bit higher because he's a little more exciting, that he may actually be ranged out of the Vikings pick. Trying to see where he might be in this one. But sometimes Waldorf football is all over the place, which is okay. I mean, that's part of the fun of it, I suppose. But that's the possibilities of a couple of corners the Vikings could possibly be looking at. And somehow I don't think the Vikings are going to take a corner, though. But that's just me, that type of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they go more in the direction of offensive line, for the left guard position to kind of literally wrap things up. And Blake Randall becomes a depth guy, which wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Right now this is when it gets frustrating. Everything starts popping up and then you can't see anything. It's just wonderful, isn't it? That Malachi Starks has been moving up and down all over the place. Sorry. See, I'm not even seeing the guy. This one has Shedeur Sanders going to Pittsburgh. I'm sure they'd be thrilled about that. Yes, Deion's nuts a little bit, but no, he's a good Colorado. Yeah, he's a good coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. All that buff, whatever. We get it, but I don't know. He has a high football IQ, leadership skills. Yeah, possibly going to the Steelers. So that would be probably a wonderful deal for the Steelers if they wound up in that direction. Yeah, I don't know. Guys' stocks keep changing, and I'll probably get off Waldorf football pretty quick here. But yeah, Malachi Starks, that's the next guy on the list. I could read what Waldorf football has and then my personal look. So Malachi Starks is a safety for Georgia, which of course in the college football world is elite, an elite program, kind of like Alabama and blah, blah, blah. They're top of the top. Yep. So Waldorf football says Harrison Smith has been a great player for a long time, but he doesn't have many more seasons remaining in the NFL, so the Vikings may want to draft his successor. I know he tried to do that with Lewis Steen and struck out. Absolutely struck out. Continuing, a quarterback in high school, Malachi Starks is a star in the making, according to Charlie Campbell's sources. Other 2025 draft possibilities for the Vikings. Trade down. Yep, we've heard that a lot. The Vikings have just 4 draft picks, so they're a prime candidate to trade out of this pick. Yep, to get, more picks. Not in the Rick Spielman category like 7th rounders, I hope. Other possibility, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle. Given how many teams have interest in Derek Harmon in the 16 to 24 range, this could be Harmon's floor. Yep, so that might be the other possible pick. And yes, he was the previous pick for the Vikings for Waldorf football in the last mock. So, excuse me. As for what I put about Malachi Starks after watching a bit, a star defender on a perennial national contender. Six interceptions in 3 years, only one last year though. No sacks in his career, but often pressured the quarterback into throwing early or simply throwing the ball away. Very tough on the ball defender. Absolutely can tackle in short yardage situations, which is wonderful. Those short third down type of deals. Vikings need a future long-term solution at safety. Of course, that's Harrison Smith right there. This one better not be Lewis Steen. Yep. And I don't think so. I would be very surprised if he is. Honestly, at the end of the day, looks like he'd be a wonderful safety. And I don't see Lewis Steen coming out of Georgia, but I guess, I don't know, the next Lewis Steen again. I remember even at the time, like Lewis Steen was somebody I wasn't even looking at. It was so frustrating. Wasn't even looking at. Like Trey Amos, that's another possibility out of Ole Miss, a cornerback. Los Angeles Rams would be projecting to get him right now. Definitely be a solid addition, I suppose. A tall cornerback with speed plus athleticism. So he sounds like the other guy I was talking about as well. Coming out of Texas, that'd be Jahdae Barron, who I like a lot. I liked what I saw of Jahdae Barron. But I don't know. I don't know if the Vikings go with cornerback. We sure signed a few of them, didn't we? And you got Malachi coming back too. It's an ACL, but coming back, and I believe Malachi is going to provide something. The ACL happened very early in the season, so hopefully, in fact, it happened in the first day of training camp, not even the season. But I suppose J.J. McCarthy had his meniscus all the way back in August as well. So you're just hoping these guys are able to come back after a calendar year and be strong enough to be pretty close to being pretty damn good in this league. So, a guy that I was pretty high on from what I saw, Gray Zabel, tackle in college, but he's going to be a guard in the NFL. At least that's the conversation. He can be a tackle or a guard. But on the left side, funny, let's say Blake Brandel, pardon me, Blake Brandel, strong season. No, not a strong season. Kind of mediocre at best at the left guard position. Probably more of a backup type of guy. You already got Will Fries. You already got Kelly at center. Will Fries at the right guard. Brian O'Neill, it's hard to believe, but, he's almost 30 already, and he's had an Achilles tendon. And then you go to the tackle position. The other tackle position, obviously, Christian Darrisaw was the cream of the crop, and, of course, coming back from a pretty nasty ACL injury in Los Angeles last year. Not in the playoff game, thank God, but much earlier in the season. That was our second loss of the year after losing to the Lions the week before. Little 2-game win streak. We had 2 of those this year, and that was the end of the season, just like that. The good part about Gray Zabel, he could play tackle in the NFL. He played left tackle in college, so he could potentially slide over to tackle, be it injuries and such that could come up, or whatever, or say, like, what's his name, Christian Darrisaw isn't ready. So there's that. The Vikings got insanely lucky being able to get Big Cam last year to help out at the left tackle position. That was awesome. I mean, it really helped a lot. But you can't count on that happening necessarily. It was kind of lucky. I mean, I'm kind of like a mid-range guy, but still really helpful in a situation where your left tackle's out for the season and you're a contender. A lot of times that can be doom for a team, but then the guy comes in and does pretty good. Gray Zabel, though, again, North Dakota State, to the point, played left tackle in college. He's a strong blindside pass blocker. Good run blocker, also opening up holes for running backs. Talk is that he would easily be able to move to left guard, and Brandel can be a depth guy. Zabel can also be a replacement left tackle in case of injury. So I think that's a scenario if Gray Zabel's there. Unless you're in love with someone else that's floating around at the same time. That's a guy, that's a scenario. Let's say if we're playing the game Clue, that is a very possible scenario right there. Spoiler alert, that's a very possible scenario as far as I'm concerned. The other name, see again, I apologize that there's not going to be as many players I'm going to talk about this year as some other years because, again, it's a small draft, and I don't know, after this free agency with how many players we acquired, the draft's significance isn't like last year. Like last year, that was awesome, and it was the most listened to Purple Mafia episode in years. And I mean years, and how could it not be? As exciting as the lead-up was to that draft, and thankfully, I got to think a lot of Viking fans were pretty doggone excited with who we got. Some, I'm sure, wanted Drake May and others, but that's kind of how that goes. So this other guy that's been floating around many times, the Minnesota Vikings pick, be it Waldorf Football or CBS and all that good stuff, Donovan Jackson, tackle, who can also play guard, by the way. Ohio State, similar to Zabel in terms of Jackson can be moved to left guard, but could also be depth at tackle, though he did play a significant amount of snaps at left guard. So he did play a lot of guard, too. This is more of a safe pick, especially if the Vikings trade down. Yeah, so this guy's value not quite as high as Zabel. Regarded as plug-and-play starter on day one, not as high of a ceiling as Zabel, though. So, yeah, I mean, I would not be disappointed in this pick. That could be a safer type of move, and maybe he does end up being the better player. You never know. But Gray Zabel to me, and maybe Zabel just flat out gets taken earlier. So, like, what the hell can you do, you know? Bernsey, comment, what the hell can you do, right?
What the hell can you do?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. If he gets taken earlier, there's nothing you can do. So this could be a nice scenario for the Vikings, like kind of a rebound type of scenario where you still wind up with Donovan Jackson. So I wouldn't really complain. Like, still good, plug and play, starter day one, but ceiling not as high as Zabel. Like, it's kind of that simple. If you're able to get Zabel, I'd be very happy. Spoiler alert. So, any other mock drafts out there? Well, I mean, obviously there's going to be quite a few. I want to mock, as people like to say. I like to say that a lot on Score North and such. They're everywhere, USA Today. Let's go for it for fun. We're going to look at some mock drafts. We're going to do some draft simulation and such. See how pathetic I am at it. But, yeah, I'll be pathetic. Looks like Cam Ward is going to be a Titan most likely. Coming out of Miami, Florida, number 1 overall pick. and so on and so forth. This one is Shadur Sanders going to the Giants. That'd be very interesting. Number 3 overall. That's probably a more likely scenario than all the way down to Pittsburgh at 20th. But who knows? I mean, wouldn't the Raiders want him? They have the Raiders taking Ashton Genty. There you go. 6th overall, running back, Boise State. Wild. Yeah, there goes Jahdae Barron, 10th overall to the Bears. So again, I think he's going to be awesome. I got a feeling about Jahdae Barron. You just watch him. He kind of reminds me of Diggs. And I don't mean Stephon Diggs. I mean his brother with the Cowboys. He kind of reminds me of him. He just has that look. Like he's going to be something. He's going to get a ton of interceptions, and he's going to be a really nice player. If he goes to the Bears 10th overall, the Bears have a chance to be something in this league. And, well, it'd be about time. They've struggled for quite a while. So, that's kind of how that goes. Gray Zabel going 18th to the Seahawks. 18th. Well, there goes that one. See, that's the thing. It could very much happen at the end of the day. Marion Hampton, running back, North Carolina. Maybe that's somebody the Vikings could look at. It's 20th to the Bronx. But we'll see. Probably be gone. There goes Malachi Starks again. So, yeah, that's another Malachi Starks pick. So maybe he's becoming more and more the consensus pick for Minnesota. That's quite interesting, actually. Yeah, crazy. That's the USA Today mock draft. If humanly possible. CBS Sports mock draft. Let's do it. You're just curious where these experts are pointing at, and because sometimes you get a consensus. Remember last year it was J.J. McCarthy. Oh, they traded up to get Drake May. Ooh. There goes Gray Zabel to Seattle again. Gosh dang it. 18th overall. Doggone it. Well, so much for that. Nope. Well, Will Campbell to the Bears 10th. So nope, it's not the other guy going from Texas. Genty going to the Raiders again. Ooh, 6th overall. Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to trade super high to get that dude. Is it going to be Malachi Starks again? Yep. Well, that's 3 for 3, folks. 3 for 3 because of Harrison Smith is getting old. Vikings need to find a long-term solution and say Harrison Smith's getting old. Do you see the trend here? So, well... Well, what's the next one? NFL 7-round mock draft. I don't think I'll go through all 7 rounds. But Patriots pick Ashton Genty in this one. Interesting. Packers trade up. They do consensus trades. Cam Ward's consensus number 1. Abdul Carter going to the Giants. Edge rusher Genty going 4th overall. Wow, his stock is rising even higher. Shadur Sanders going to the Raiders. You know what? If the Raiders are serious about winning, as great as that Genty might be, I bet they would like this scenario. There's your quarterback. I hope, for their sake anyway. Do I care that much about the Raiders? Nah, but we'll see what happens. Jackson Dart would be a quarterback going to the Saints. Will Campbell to the Bears again. That's the offensive tackle, which they do need, of course, because Mr. Caleb Williams was getting smushed all over the place. Jahdae Barron, Texas senior, going to the Dolphins 14th, so he's probably not going to be there, is he? Nope. Seattle passes on a certain guy named Gray Zabel. He's there. Vikings trade down. Dang it. That sucks. Oh, well. Vikings trade down. Where are we? 30th, and we get Nick. Okay, that's another one that's been floating around. Nick Emenwari. Yep, I didn't look at him yet, and I apologize. I didn't talk about him too much. So, Emenwari and Harrison Smith would form a nice safety duo for the Vikings. The rookie could play in the box over slot receivers and cover the back end when called upon. I shouldn't say I wasn't looking at him. Yes, I was. I was looking at him, but not as closely as a Malachi Starks, because Malachi Starks kept 1 pick after the Baltimore Ravens. Why do I have a feeling Starks is going to be better than Emenwari? But maybe I'm wrong. But, I was definitely pretty high on Starks. Oh, that was exciting. What do they say about Starks here? Nice chess piece in the secondary. Starks can switch between playing inside and in the box and deep, just like Kyle Hamilton did as a rookie. Interesting. Well, that one was not Starks, and the Vikings actually passed on him at the 30th pick. with the way the other drafts are going, you think if Stark is still there at 30, the Vikings would be ecstatic and take him. But we take Eman Worry in this one, according to the NFL mock draft. The NFL, yeah. But you know how it's like writers and all that having fun. New York Times mock draft? Okay, what the heck. All right, New York Times, let's see what you got. I can't believe they're putting Cam Ward again. Oh, but now they're not letting me look at it, are they? That's dumb. Come on. I can't even just look at a mock draft quick. Okay, Draft Network. White screen. Nope. Ads. Surprise. What a shocker that there's ads. And not a whole lot else. I'm just seeing a white screen. That helps. Well, let's try to refresh. There, that looks like a football player. I can't believe it. Cam Ward's going to the Titans. It's just like crazy. Abdul Carter, the Giants again. Campbell going all the way up to Will Campbell going all the way up to the Patriots in this case, number 4. Patriots are becoming accustomed to drafting real high. Saints, Shadur Sanders, they'd be dancing on the clouds. I think the Bears would be dancing on the clouds too with Ashton Jeanty going 10th. Yep, that's been one of the consensuses floating around. Jedi Barron going to the Dolphins 13th. Oh, because maybe a different kind of trade and such. There we, yep, where's Gray? You know, and Malachi Stark's going to Cincy. Wow, 17th. And you know, Gray Zabel, I don't think he was even taken in that other first round. He would have gone into the second. The Vikings, whoa, wow, that one's different. Inside defensive lineman. Didn't we draft didn't we sign 2 guys like that? Why would, I don't know, but I suppose they're kind of older and had injury history. Derek Harmon, interesting, out of Oregon, inside defensive lineman. Derek Harmon is a match made in heaven. This is according to Draft Network for Brian Flores. Yep, I remember seeing this actually. Pressure-heavy defense. One of the most disruptive interior defenders in college football last season. Harmon brings a natural ability to disengage from blockers and root to the football. Yep, getting those runners down. Yep. He's a true penetrator, quick off the snap, explosive through the gaps, and built to play downhill. His hand usage, leverage, and feel for attacking protections align perfectly with what Flores looks for up front. Harmon fits the identity of this defense and projects as an immediate impact piece for the interior. So I don't think anybody'd really complain about it. It's just at the same time, be a little bit surprising. Little teeny bit surprising. 6 foot. Well, kind of confused with how this is looking at it, but I guess it's almost 6.5 feet. No, I think it's 6'4.4". That's what they're trying to tell me. 303 pounds. Arm length of 34 inches. Interesting. Yep. Concerns, gets caught with high pads and occasions struggles to stay involved against double teams and protection. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with that. So that was definitely up. I've seen that name floating around with the Vikings in a few mock drafts, but so far Starks continues to be the guy, according to most of these. There we call them draft experts, draft commentators, and such. I'm sure there's a billion more possibilities to look at. ESPN, we got to go there at least once. Heck, they run the draft, doggone it. What? Oh, this is just prospects. It's not even a mock draft. You stink. Where's the mock draft? Shouldn't there be a bunch of them here? What's going on? Are you crazy? ESPN lives off mock drafts. Where is the guy? Where's Mel Kiper? Come on. Okay, that's just draft prospects. We appreciate that. You have the top 100. Oh, come on. Where is... Yeah, because I know, or maybe you have to pay, you have to have ESPN Plus, which I do have, so what the heck. So, I apologize for this. Yep. He's probably had 15 drafts already. Okay, this is just... Okay, predictions round 1 and 2. Come on, Mel. Yep, Cam Ward, number 1. That's a tough one to go with. No, I'm just kidding. Abdul Carter still to the Giants. Campbell going to the Patriots. Yep, Jeanty, the running back, going to the Raiders again, 6th overall. Sanders going to those Saints. Kuiper's got him going there. Tyler Warren going. Oh, yeah, because Jeanty's gone. Yeah. Duh. Whew, Jahdae Barron's going to the Dolphins again, 13th. That's a high pick, boy. Ooh, that Nick Emenwari, safety going to the Bucks. Interesting. Maybe I'm an idiot. Gray Zabel going to the Chargers at 22nd. That hurts. And Donovan Jackson coming to Minnesota. So there you go. Yep, they're talking about it. The Vikings signed Mel, saying Vikings signed Will Fries, Ryan Kelly. And yep, it'd be great to get Jackson as well to replace Brandel at the other guard spot. Brandel then could be basically a depth guy. And also the fact with the injury with Christian Darrisaw is a thing. And of course, the other guy as well. We might need to look to possibly replace him or have kind of insurance for him in the draft as well. That would be a guy by the name of Brian O'Neill on the right side. He's getting a little older, unfortunately, and kind of expensive too. So it's a bummer how we keep having to restructure and such. That's kind of how some guys stick around for many years, like Adam Thielen and others in the past. But yeah, this would not upset me. Donovan Jackson, there's your left guard right there, and your offensive line is pretty complete. As long as DJ as we might want to call him, is able to kind of show up to play, so to speak, and be legit. We've had some disappointments coming in at guard. Obviously, Ed Ingram, and then the other guy a couple of years back. That was really depressing, wasn't it? So, yeah, very. 2021 really was a bust of a draft, and I do think that's, it's like Zimmerman, not Zimmerman, the other guy, except for Christian Darrisaw, it was a massive bust of a draft. Okay, no, not completely. There's a couple of lucky, like you got super lucky with Cam Bynum, so my bad, seeing that. And Patrick Jones ended up being a decent player. Surratt, we barely even know who he is anymore. Kellen Mond, massive disappointment. And Wyatt Davis, the guy who went from, you're like, okay, why is he not playing? Because he can't play. And it was so disappointing. Like, it just never happened for the guy who was supposed to be, like, the guard replacement at some point for, like, the Drew Samia, guys like that. Or is it Drew Samia? He was a massive disappointment as well. But taken later in the draft, he wasn't really expected to be much. But then again, he was another guard. There was some ability there, but it just never came to fruition. And Wyatt Davis was awful. Ed Ingram was a slight improvement, but not good either. It kept being, gosh, Ed Ingram. Okay, he'll get better. It's just a rookie wall. Oh, nope, he's still not better. Okay, forget it. Whatever. So, Ryan Kelly. Yeah, him too, but Will Fries, please, Will. Can we please sign Will Fries? Yes. Oh, it's over. Finally, we're done with that. That type of deal. So, you had that going on, but then you bring in, that was a tough draft. It's been a struggle. But you hope and pray that you're not going to go through the same situations with the Donovan Jackson or Gray Zabel. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's any way. Those guys were later in the draft, but still, they weren't that late. There was definitely an ability that they could, and a hope that they could be something in the league. Especially, wasn't Ed Ingram a pretty high pick? Wasn't he like a decently high pick? It wasn't like he was like a 6th-round pick or anything. You can't expect 6th-round picks necessarily to be much, but I don't know. But cool. With all of that said, I'm not sure where he's going to go and how things are going to wind up. Should I endorse a certain person right now and be done with it? Gray Zabel. You could probably tell that's where I'm heading. If he's there, I want the Vikings to take Gray Zabel. That's who I'm going with. Second place, probably Malachi Starks, and then third would be Donovan Jackson. Anybody else after that? Well, we'll see and hope for the best. But Gray Zabel is somebody I officially endorsed for Purple Mafia in the 2025 draft for the NFL. My official pick is Gray Zabel. Again, it might be reaching, not reaching in terms of picking a guy who probably shouldn't be taken there, but more of hoping and praying he's available, that kind of thing, because I guess Seattle could take him 18th, which is 6 whole picks ahead. I don't think the Vikings are really in a position to trade up this year. Last year we moved up one little spot, but absolutely got the guy not only did I want, but they wanted, because it was J.J. McCarthy all over the mock drafts. I wouldn't be surprised if Malachi Starks is the favorite to be taken here, but I do think Gray Zabel or Donovan Jackson are the other two. Gray Zabel and Donovan Jackson are definitely the other two guys that are possibly to be taken here. And right now, Gray Zabel's the one I particularly want, because then you're set at the offensive line. But I suppose Malachi Starks wouldn't upset me too much. Really wouldn't. There's definitely a lot of ability there. So we'll have to wait and see how that all turns out. Obviously, guys are busts sometimes, but I would hope and pray that he's not one. Obviously, you had the Lewis Seen disappointment, Wyatt Davis, Ed Ingram, they were disappointments, and so on and so forth. You could talk about how we kept, failing at trying to get tackles, but we didn't go too high with those picks, other than, of course, the highest of all of them, Matt Khalil. He was spectacular early and just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and more injury prone as well. But enough about Bryant McKinney. Yeah, that guy too. But, so, should we try a draft simulator quick? Dare we do that? This is going to be a 2-segment show. This is kind of the main one here, obviously. And then fan interaction in segment 2. So we're going to go to NFL Mock Draft Database here and get going. Fortunately, there's a dog outside, but that's apartment life, isn't it? Okay, I'm hitting the button. Nothing's happening. Okay, 24th pick. Cam Ward, blah, 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 all gone. Jedi Barron, of course, are going to the 14th. It's not even saying what team they went to. Oh, these are all. Okay. Is it not simulating anything? I'm confused. Oh, okay, it's hiding the drafted players. How dumb is that? Okay. I don't think it's doing anything. Well, maybe I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. Either that or it's just ads like slowing the whole damn thing down. Nothing's happening. Isn't this dumb? So that's disappointing. The draft will be starting soon. With who? Who am I waiting for? Oh, that's fun. Okay, let's go with who we know here. Pro Football and Sports Network. Yeah, I think I did this one last year. Yeah, sorry guys for abandoning you. There we go. This one's actually moving. The other one's just sitting there. Looking at the Campbell going to the da-da-da. Well, these are interesting, the way they're turning out. Why is everyone passing on quarterbacks and stuff? Oh, there goes Genty finally to the Broncos. I bet they'd be thrilled about that. Barron going to the, oh wow, Sanders going to the Seahawks. That doesn't make any sense. Do they not factor in what they just did? Well, that's kind of dumb. Trade offer from the Rams. I don't know. The Vikings would probably, that's a pretty high pick. Except, so just 2 down and then go up from like mid-hundreds to 90th. That's pretty high. Oh, come on. I don't think I want to trade out of the first round. Just stop. Jeez. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. See, that's why I wouldn't do it. Yep. Gray Zabel's coming to Minnesota with the 26th pick. Exciting. So I got Gray Zabel with the 26th pick. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want to trade out of the first round. Oh, it only did the first round. Oh, come on. Okay, I think I messed that up. This is what I did last year. Yeah, you got to save the whole draft, you dummy. My bad. Vikings. Solo. Yeah, I did this last year. The problem is, though, you get like 55 draft offers, and they're all over the place, and I don't know. It'd be fun to discuss that kind of stuff in real life. There, this looks more realistic. Sanders going to the Saints. Yeah, why would the Seahawks take Sanders? I mean, I'm sure they'd be excited to, but you just, it'd be like the Falcons last year. Ooh, Barron's going to the Packers in this one. I don't think I like this one too much. It's a huge package, though, but you'd be trading way down. No. Third round? No. Oh, man. I don't want to trade out of the first round, damn it. Who would trade with the Lions? Yeah, they're probably like, what's wrong with this jerk? Why isn't he trading with them? See, the problem is I'm going to end up taking the same guy over and over again. But there's no way he wouldn't be available, or that he'd still be available at 36th even. So Gray Zabel coming to Minnesota, 24th. So interestingly, in this one, he's not getting taken higher. So that's kind of interesting. Unfortunately, we don't pick until 500 years. And other people would probably do that. I don't even know where our next pick is. It's 97th, and it's at 47th. So, yeah, how about them Houston Rockets right now? They're 5 points ahead of the Golden State Warriors. As long as the Warriors lose, I'm happy. Keep it up. Minnesota Timberwolves, obviously fantastic last night against the Los Angeles Lakers. So that's exciting for any of you out there that like the Wolves. The Wild are going to start up pretty soon here against the Vegas Golden Knights. So it is cool to have both teams in the postseason. Timberwolves look like an absolute contender. I think they're going to win that series, by the way. So, a little bit of Timberwolves conversation here as we wait for that 97th pick to come. The problem is eventually it gets kind of like, okay, who is this and who's that? Eventually, as you get like the 6th, 7th round, unless you really are a full-on draft expert, which admittedly, I am not a full-on draft expert. I have ideas of what I like, what I see, and all of that, but I don't know. Some of these trade offers are weird. So the bottom line is, unless you're, I don't know, most of these trade offers are pretty cruddy. Offensive tackle, Ozzy Trapolio, they probably think I'm crazy. How many guards do you need, dude? But maybe. I mean, he could be a possible replacement for Brian O'Neill someday. That's the way you might be thinking. But if you take only offensive linemen the whole draft, again, they might think I'm nuts. Otherwise, you got Omer Norman Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee. I'm not looking for a tight end. I don't think we need an edge at the second. I will go with that Omer Norman Lott, defensive tackle. So there you go. Building in the trenches, and that's kind of how I look at this draft. Vikings should be building in the trenches and possibly at the running back position. At least kind of like a developmental running back. We'll see that type of thing because, even if Jordan Mason could be a number one quarterback here or running back here very soon, you'd still like to have a number two guy behind him. As Aaron Jones probably, I'm guessing this is his last year with the Vikings. As mean as that might sound, I think it probably is. Unfortunately, there's no running backs floating around at this stage, at least not immediately. But, it's round 5. We have the first pick in the 5th round. How exciting. So, more defensive tackles. You got Billy Bowman as a safety, which probably wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Dillman Sampson is the highest running back available coming out of Tennessee. Billy Bowman, though, is ranked 103. He's been he's way higher. So I guess we'll get our I don't know if he's the safety of the future or not, but who knows? Vikings have done pretty well with late picks on safeties for the most part, or like safety. Yeah, what was it like Cam Bynum, kind of quarterback or cornerback and safety type of thing. So that Dylan Sampson's still floating around out of Tennessee. He is still sitting there. Wow. But the Vikings don't pick for about, he's gone. Okay, he went to the Raiders. That's how that goes. So, I'm not going to do too many of these. I'll just do this one. Because I think I did like 3 of them last year and must have bored the hell out of you listening. So, my apologies my apologies if I bored you last year with all of that. This is becoming like a Spielman draft now. Like, it's going really low. Oh, you can get them now. This is where you take pretty much special team type of talent in the 6th and 7th round, but you might get something. Should I take a chance on Corey Kinner? Corey Kinner out of Cincinnati is a running back ranked 178th. Maybe a little extra value there. We'll see. I mean, it could be nothing. Give him a shot. All right, Corey, come on to Minnesota out of Cincy Dincy. So we addressed the offensive line, the defensive line, a safety, and a running back. Sounds pretty good. And I think, that's it. That's the end of my pick. So now it's just going to kind of keep moving into the 200s, round 6. Unfortunately, it's going to be a few minutes for that. But, Minnesota Wild starting up pretty soon. We'll see how that series goes. Keep up with that conversation as well. If you haven't listened to it yet, Brave the Wild, Minnesota Wild podcast, Timberwolves Explosion, Minnesota Timberwolves podcast for playoff previews for both of those teams and the leagues they play in. Of course, the NHL and NBA. Yeah, keep up with that if you like. Mysterious Adventures, if you'd like to check that out. I just recently did an episode about the Nazca lines, a real interesting artifacts, basically, or real interesting, like, it's kind of like a hieroglyphic, gigantic hieroglyphic, basically drawn into the sand, in the Peruvian desert. Pretty amazing, and basically people couldn't even see it because they're so big. They're as big as a football field. You couldn't even see what was going on in that until until people had the ability to be able to fly in a helicopter, and then eventually be able to photograph, video it, and see really in its full glory with drones and such. And you're just blown away with what you're seeing. Like, how the heck could people do that? Well, there's an interesting story behind a lot of that. So. Nazca lines, if you want to check that out. Mysterious Adventures. Sorry for the shameless plugs here. Well, that's the draft for this one, and unfortunately they don't grade it, which is annoying. Come on. Doggone it. Well, I think it's a good one. I mean, Gray Zabel's 24th overall pick. I'd be thrilled to have him here. 97th pick, Omar Norman Lott, defensive tackle out of Tennessee, to help bolster the defensive line. Hope for the best with that pick. Billy Bowman, kind of mid-round pick there, 139th overall, coming out of Oklahoma. And Corey Kinner, 6th round running back. We'll see. Give him a shot and see if you got something. You never know. You never know. So, what the heck. Okay, yeah, I'm just doing one more quick one, and it's on speed this time. Well, Derek Harmon is regarded higher than I expected, 18th, and he's available at 24. So let's go with Derek Harmon for the sake of having something different here, like one of those guys that was listed at the end of the day, as we're flying much, much faster now. We have it on fast, basically. It's too bad they don't grade it. I don't know what other things, other mock drafts do. This one, they just want to give us a bunch of Spielman picks. Are you kidding me? Why would I do that? So that's kind of pointless. Offensive tackle Cameron Williams again. This is at 97, or no, one. Yeah, it's at 97. Nothing is standing out at me here. Again, they don't rank it anyway, which is annoying. You could take a linebacker, an offensive tackle. Well, I didn't take a defensive line, so let's go with Cameron Williams, Texas. Yep, I took a defensive lineman this time, so I got to think that way. So I'm kind of going opposite direction this time. Yeah, these are Spielman type trades. Why would I bother? It's just like, you know. Well, actually, I don't know. Nah. I'll just say no. Yeah, these are always the Spielman trades where they want you to trade way the heck down. There's a quarterback who's the highest ranked guy available right now, Texas again, Quinn Ewers. Want to take a developmental quarterback, but I don't think that we're in any position to do that at the moment. I'm not sure what to say about that. Let's go with wide receiver Pat Bryant, otherwise R.J. Mickens out of Clemson. Pat Bryant or Mickens. Safety Mickens. Let's go with the safety. Doggone it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. And plus, if there is a chance of keeping Jordan Addison, I don't know. Trading with the Packers sounds sacrilegious. Why does everybody want my 26th, 7th round pick anyway? That's part of the trade down. Trading with the Packers just feels like it's going to be a mistake. Like they'll take somebody and kick our butts with them. Bradford Smith out of SMU. Ooh, who's looking at you, SMU? Another running back coming to Minnesota in the 6th round in my little messing around. This is the last time. Don't worry. I'm not going to bore you with 3 hours of, look at my simulation draft. It's so cool. I know it is. So there it is. 24th, Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle in Oregon that we talked about earlier. Offensive tackle Cameron Williams out of Tejas, 97. R.J. Mickens, 139th overall. Safety out of Clemson, and running back Brad Shard Smith. So it's interesting. You're noticing a consensus of how these are turning out. See, this is a sign of how I kind of view this draft. Trenches, safety, running back. Sound good? That's kind of what I'm looking at. Trenches, safety, and running back. Yep. So, I mean, we'll see if that's where the Vikings are approaching it. Odds are of them trading down at some point, maybe adding a couple picks, yes. But some of these trade offers was like, you know, I don't know, they're a little bit crazy. And it may be sacrilegious as well when it's like the Packers and such. So you can't really do that unless it's like a great trade. And it didn't look like something I would really want to do. You're not really, you know, you're trading down 9 spots, not really getting anything in return much. So it's like, what's the point? Even though it's a mid-round pick. So that's the end of that. With that, we'll take a quick break and go into what fans have to say. And we are back here on Purple Mafia, segment number 2 in this case, the fan interaction segment at Purple Mafia Show. At Purple Mafia Show, there's also, again, the Instagram and the Facebook page. Facebook page, you just simply look up Purple Mafia Show, basically, Minnesota Vikings Show. On Instagram, I do believe it is also just simply Purple Mafia Show. It's what it's been traditionally, and it's been a lot of fun, obviously, keeping up with a lot of that. Trying to switch it over. I thought I had it switched over already, so I apologize. Yep, Purple Mafia Show, which is wonderful. Oh, that was available. But then again, it should be, dang it. How many people have the Purple Mafia Show? One. Me, dang it. Even though it's it's a really old thing. It's been around for many years. But hopefully it's been enjoyable for all of you out there. Instagram hasn't grown a whole lot of late, but that's kind of how that goes. No comments. People were excited about the Mason trade, which was awesome. I agree with that. Well, I didn't follow back Showtime and T-Wolves. Yeah, I started for that one, so that was fun. Pretty cool. Pretty cool for sure. So, yep, no comments on the Instagram. We'll head to the Facebook page here momentarily. Yep, there it is. And, of course, the Twitter account. I think I'll go to Facebook before Twitter. It's probably a better way to go. Yeah, this is when Jameis Winston went to the Giants. No comments. I think the Facebook page is super quiet. Rondell Moore coming to the Vikings. I didn't even really talk about kind of what he is. But, yeah, he's more of a fourth. I'd say he's more of a fourth receiver than a third. So that's one way to look at it. But he could be a third receiver as well. Bob Nelson. That's a new one. Yep, so I posted something. It was a Tom Pelissero post on Twitter, of course. X-Post is what it's called. And I screenshotted and sent it to Purple Mafia Show. The hashtag Vikings have rejected multiple trade calls on J.J. McCarthy, telling other teams they're moving forward with him as their quarterback. Sources say the team plans to add a veteran, but they're not pursuing Aaron Rodgers at this time. McCarthy now enters the offseason as QB1. There's Bob Nelson. He says, I wish him the best of luck. He deserves a chance. I'm back in 100%. So welcome back, Bob. Good to hear from you. And yeah, it's good to know that for sure. Trying to see if there's any way to know where he might be from. Just out of curiosity, people say this guy from this place and Joey from that place. Not seeing a whole lot of info, unfortunately. Yeah, some people are super private on these, so that's how it goes. Might be from Minnesota, might be from Wisconsin, so kind of basically upper Midwest, I guess. Yeah, you get the general idea. But thank you, Bob. Nice to hear from you on that. Just in case you're listening. Oh, looks like there was another. Yeah, Jeff Aduka. There was a comment there, but that was just me. Well, that's dumb. Oduka, who was 26, was the third overall. Yeah, that's right. Third overall pick in 2020, but hasn't panned out to that level yet. That's what I was saying. So, yeah, Mark Carlson liked that comment. I was a little bummed about Jameis Winston leaving, so that's a bummer. Not able to get him. So, let's get to the Twitter, or X-Post, or whatever it's called. At Purple Mafia Show there. Long time gone followed back, so thank you very much. Great to hear. Yep, great to hear from you. Oh, yeah, I think he was saying, follow me and I'll follow back. And he said, I got you. Thanks for the follow. So thank you very much. Oh, there he is. Tene Brown out of New Zealand. Says, Winston is basically Mullins. Great arm, low IQ quarterbacks. Yeah, they're both kind of crazy. I think I was a little bit bummed. Oh, no, this was back when it was saying he was a possibility that he's linked to the Vikings. They must have had a conversation or two, but according to Tene, and Tene basically mentioning how, the guy's just kind of, he's out of control, basically, like another Mullins. Yep, I agree. That's a good take. Yeah, I said something about Justin Herbert, how there was we got to trade for Herbert or something. Oh, come on. I didn't mean to go there. Okay. I was just simply tweeting out, I don't want Justin Herbert. He's closer to being the next Kirk Cousins than anything else. And, yep, Eric Breivik also says, I don't want the price tag. Yep, I don't want his price tag. Yeah, it'd be too much. Oh, he followed. Okay, I'll follow back. Eric, welcome aboard. Sorry for being so slow to the trigger here on this one. So, sorry for being there. Sorry about that. Followed him back right away. So, dang, that was a while back, too. I hope he's not thinking, he's one of these jerks that never follows back. But then again, that's how that is. A lot of people don't follow back. Next. Okay, what were me and Gerald saying? Gerald out of South Dakota. I was saying, yep, Oh yeah, McCarthy was talking about something about how he doesn't deserve, or yeah, he doesn't, he hasn't earned the number one role anyway. And I was saying, yep, needs to earn it officially. Not that I have any doubt. And then Gerald String saying he will. Yep, with a wink. Yep, I agree. J.J. McCarthy was on. Was it that Up in Adams show? Yeah, he was talking. They were like talking about golf and such, but then got into actual Vikings conversation, and he was saying, yeah, like I haven't officially, been given the number one quarterback role yet. I need to earn it, and it's like, yeah, yep. And Gerald says he will, and I agree with that. Yep, of course, the time the Timberwolves were officially, awarded to Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez. At least that their deal is, was clean, and that the sale can continue, basically, type of thing, and that Glenn Taylor's bound to it. He's not gonna, that they did not breach the contract, and he can't just take the team back from them. So that type of thing. There we go. Sports Dad. Oh, that means Dave Hickey must listen to Score North as well. Sports Dad is Judd Zolgad. Yep. Oh, did I share this? Mackie said, fight me. Here are the results from today's overrated band, Snake Purple Draft. Yep. I picked Mackie not because I don't like Dave Matthews, but just Taylor Swift. I can't stand her. So I was stunned to hear Mackie do that. That was actually good because it seemed like they kept defending her the whole damn season, how cool it is that, the last 2 years, her and Mr. Kelsey or whatever, have been just a freaking clown show and annoying. Declan Goff lost me right away. Like Bruce Springsteen, I don't like him as a person. I think he's a jerk, but his music is great. I like his 80s music. He's an absolute jerk, though. So I just don't like the person. The music is good. Coldplay, come on. They're one of the, I don't like modern music at all. But Coldplay's not really modern. They're kind of like 90s-ish. And it's very chill, nice rock and roll. I don't know why you don't like them. And even U2. They may not be great, and the music gets kind of old and boring maybe, but it's not that bad. Mackie won it right away by throwing in Taylor Swift. Declan had no chance with that one. Again, Springsteen's a jerk, but his music is really good. Judd, well, yeah, I don't know. He's all over the place with his picks. But apparently Dave Hickey liked that one the most, so he says Sports Dad wins. I was saying I'm surprised Eminem, Beyonce, and Ariana didn't get chosen. They're all freaking overrated beyond belief. Mackie wins instantly by choosing Taylor Swift. Yeah, nobody liked what I said, which sucks. Yep, I mean, if it was me, I probably would have had... Ariana probably should be number one. She's a billionaire. Her music is annoying. I don't know why everybody likes her so dang much. I don't understand. Eminem, though, maybe the absolute worship of Eminem. Beyonce's finally getting some flack now because she's doing this country crap, but I was never a fan, and it's not because of anything other than I don't know. For one thing, she oozes arrogance. I don't like arrogance. You notice that with like, oh, I can't stand Curry. I don't like the Chiefs. Guys like, so it's like people like that. Eminem, too, oozes arrogance. Frankly, Ariana does as well, so there's a reason why they're on that list. Taylor Swift does, too. So it's like people like that. I'm not a fan of any of those four. Imagine Dragons, well, I kind of like the Lightning Thunder song. Other than that, though, it's not my kind of music at all. It's too modern, and ugh. This is, of course, they have a snake draft every Friday on... Purple Daily for Score North. This was the snake draft on April 11th. Overrated bands, music snake draft, Purple Daily. So, yeah. So, I voted for Mackie on that one. I don't know if it shows who won now anymore. Maybe because it's it's old. Oh boy, the whole screen's like freezing here. Not good. Hope you can hear what I'm even saying right now. Yeah, it's moving. I got a feeling things got choppy. It's not moving well right now. I apologize if the show just got choppy. I hope it didn't. Yeah, Firefox is acting up, and that's when you know you're in trouble here. Oh boy, probably need to get rid of Walter Football. That one's probably got so many ads. Oh man, yep. I hope the show hasn't been choppy. Oh, I hope the show hasn't been choppy because of that stupid Walter Football. But this has been a pretty reliable computer, pretty reliable laptop over the years. There's the old laptops that used to have issues, or old desktops. Walter Football has too many ads. It's okay to have ads, but oh boy, I hope this hasn't affected the quality of the show. So my deep apologies if the show has been choppy due to that. Otherwise, I think that's the end of the conversation for today. Absolutely, the next show will be a draft review. I am praying to God that this show wasn't choppy. Oh man, I feel bad right now already if that's the case. Should have closed some stupid Walter Football. Why did I leave that open? I think that one's notorious for having issues like that. So other than that though, thank you so much for listening. Please tell your friends about this show. But if it's choppy, warn them, I guess. I don't know. Otherwise, yeah, I endorse Gray Zabel, but would be, happy either way with working on the trenches. That's kind of my number one goal. But if you took Malachi Starks, I think it's okay too. It's okay. Like, I don't think I'm going to be coming out of this draft shaking my head, scratching my head. Like, what the hell are they doing? I do think Kwesi is a pretty good GM. And also, again, the collaboration that goes on with Brian Flores defensively and Kevin O'Connell offensively. So I like the job they've been doing the last couple of years. Obviously, they're not perfect, and the first draft was weird, but of course, the first hire at defensive coordinator was weird too. With all due respect to Ed Donatell, he wasn't a defensive coordinator. He should probably should be a level below that. Unfortunately, just being honest. With that said, I want to thank each and every one of you for listening always. God bless you, and we should be back sooner than later for the draft review.